So you were here on the night though?
Yes, that's correct.
Could you tell me what you saw?
So I live directly opposite the block, and at about 1:30 a.m. I became aware that there was a lot of people on the street, and then I looked up to the right and I saw the building on fire. At that stage I came down and stayed on the street until about 9 a.m. During that period, essentially we were watching people we love burn to death and die. At one point we were around here on the corner and we could hear people screaming to us to help them. We went over by the station and you could see up on what appears to have been the 21st floor, family waving a white towel out of the window for what was about an hour and a half. The helicopter, which appears to have been a news helicopter, came close to them and then turned around, came about 200-300 meters away from them and then turned around, and we were really just standing there watching them die. And it was obviously very, very harrowing and I think traumatic for a lot of people that were present. I have a friend, a good friend of mine, Yasin al-Wahabi, who, you know, there's different reports, but it seems that maybe he didn't make it out. I have another friend that I just saw now that lived on the 15th floor, and he did manage to get out alive. Got out about 4 o'clock and he's just got out of hospital now, and he's been seriously affected by the experience and seriously traumatized by the experience. In terms of where we place the responsibility and the accountability for this tragic incident, we need to look firstly at Grenfell Action Group continuously, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but continuously during the TMO and the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea's attention towards the fact that the building was not prepared for any type of incident like this, and they said pretty much word for word that it will take a massive loss of life for the ineptitude and incompetence that was part of the constructing of this building and the maintenance of this building to be revealed, essentially. And so they were warned and they knew that this building was not safe. The refurbishment, which depending to some sources it cost £8 million, other sources about £9.7 million, which again is outsourced, and I think this is an important part of this, because part of the sort of neoliberal consensus which came across the political class in this country from the 80s was the idea that outsourcing was for the best. It's the idea that corporate power is, number one, more adept at handling issues, and that corporate power is more important than state power. It's the self-hating weak state that essentially the ideology of neoliberalism imbues within a political class, and they took that on. So they added cladding to the outside, which clearly is flammable also, and so exacerbated the issue of a fire, which would have been easily contained were it in Trellick Tower, as had happened. It was contained and kept to one flat. Here it spread very quickly. So we saw that spread, you know, and we had people crying for help, and I didn't see anyone jump, but obviously we heard people jump. You know, we were breathing it in. Bits of the building were falling down on us, bits of people's homes were falling down on us. It reminds me of a poem by Mahmoud Darwish called The House as a Casualty, where it talks about every single element of the house as having been touched by a human presence, whether it's a half-finished bottle of milk or a bill or a notepad. It's touched by a human presence, and even to see that all around us, see people's homework, to see pages of books burnt and around us, obviously it's very very harrowing thing to see. And you know, as I say, people I love seem to have died in that building, and there has to be accountability for this. People have to go to prison for this. There has to be reparations for this. But moreover, we need to make sure that the people that lived in that building have the right to be rehoused in a building in the same place if they want. They have the right to be in the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea. What we've seen happen is, according to reports, they're only rehousing the elderly and the vulnerable, and that's completely wrong. They have a serious responsibility to rehouse the people that have been displaced by this terrible situation. So really, I think this not only is a condemnation of the contractors responsible for this building, but moreover it's a condemnation of austerity, it's a condemnation of neoliberalism and of the cuts to emergency services, because where they better equipped, potentially people will have lived that didn't have to die in the first place. They built their Kensington Academy, which also impeded the ability of emergency services to get towards the building. You know, were this Kensington Town Hall, this would not have happened. This would not have happened. It would not be the empty carcass that the building now is. And so, you know, I just want to send my biggest condolences to everybody that lost anyone, and anyone that's looking for anyone at this time. And if anyone needs anywhere to stay, or if anyone needs anything, they are completely have the right to contact me, and I will do whatever I can to help you, whether it's helping you be housed or whether it's helping you with material needs at this time. Obviously the outpour, as has been references in the news, of people coming and presenting food and presenting water and presenting clothes and stuff and bedding is fantastic, but we need to turn it into political mobilization. We need to turn it into a movement which pushes for two things. Number one, accountability and justice, but also number two, it needs to kick back against the aims of regeneration of this estate, which has been going on for about a year and a half, 2 years. They have been building towards it. We as a community have been organising against it. But what I also fear with this is it can be weaponised, in that they can look at the other blocks around here, the other 4 very large tower blocks, and say to them, you don't want to happen to you what happened in Grenfell, so therefore you should allow us to knock down these blocks. Now, people that live in this area have school nearby for their children, have jobs nearby. We need to maintain the sense of community here, because when you take away the physical possibility of community, you take away the emotional and psychological possibility of community. And this is an area with a very rich tradition of diasporic brilliance. This is the area where Bob Marley recorded Exodus. This is the area of the Mangrove 9, Darkest Hour. This is the area where Kelso Cochrane was killed, that led to the carnival. This is the area of Frestonia. This is an area of so many interesting, beautiful, subversive movements. We can't allow gentrification to eat at it and to essentially aim at homogenizing the population here. We have to resist social cleansing, and we have to do everything that we can to make sure that this mobilization and galvanization of people, which of course is positive, but what I would say is on the night when it was happening and we were out in the street, it was only people from the community here. Not many of those people are still here. The people that now are here, which we're blessed by their presence, obviously, they're not people that live here. They're not people that live here. Part of it has turned into the big spectacle of, you know, this carcass of a building where death happened, you know, and the corpses are still there. You know, my friend who came out from the 15th floor and survived miraculously, he was tripping over corpses coming out. There's been a cover-up in the amount of people that have died in this building. And you know, my point is that we have to use these numbers, and we have to really aim at political organisation and mobilisation. We have to meet, we have to talk, we have to find ways for us to legally move towards justice and compensation for all of the people that have suffered here.